The hospital corridor sounded sharper than usual, every hurried footstep striking my nerves. I'd spent 7 years learning how to stay calm while patients panicked. But one message from my father had unsettled me more than any emergency. Family meeting tomorrow. Victor will be there. I hadn't seen my brother in 3 years. At 34, I worked 12-hour shifts at St. Matthew's Hospital, wearing plain blue scrubs, carrying our mother's silver ring on my right hand. Victor, taller, glamorous, endlessly photographed, sold luxury homes to people who never asked the price. He had also taken my wife. Diane had once been the brilliant cardiologist everyone admired. She courted me with dinners, river walks, promises that sounded permanent after we married. Admiration became criticism. My clothes were too simple, my salary was embarrassing, my cooking lacked sophistication. Then our mother's arthritis worsened, and I became her nurse, driver, cook, late-night companion. While Victor claimed he was too busy, Diane resented every hour I spent caring for her. One winter night, after overtime, I saw her kissing Victor inside his white convertible. Neither apologized. Diane demanded a divorce. Victor told relatives I'd driven her away by becoming dull and bitter. Mother died weeks later. Victor never came to the funeral. 3 years passed before Father summoned us. The Victorian house looked unchanged, but his study was crowded with folders, statements, messages, hospital records. Father, Dr. Samuel Reed, who'd spent his life repairing damaged hearts, carried a severity I'd never seen. "You already know about my cancer," he told me quietly, before the others arrived. "Tonight isn't about dying. It's about truth." Victor entered in a cream coat, Diane behind him in an expensive dress. He glanced at my modest dark suit and smiled. Still alone, Nathaniel. They settled onto the sofa like they were choosing furniture after Father's funeral. Victor started immediately. "We should discuss the estate while you're still able. Diane's spoken with attorneys." Father placed a sealed envelope on the table. "I have terminal pancreatic cancer. 3 months, perhaps less." Victor's shock lasted seconds before calculation replaced it. "We'll care for you," he said quickly. Diane leaned forward. "I can arrange treatment." Father raised one hand. "You had your chance to care for someone." He opened the first folder. 3 years of statements from Mother's assisted care facility. "Victor, I transferred $5,000 monthly for your mother's treatment. The facility received almost nothing." Victor laughed too loudly. "That must be an accounting error." Father turned his laptop toward us. His bank records showed designer purchases, resort bookings, car payments, restaurant bills, arriving days after each transfer. Diane stood. "Those records are private." My stomach twisted. I had believed exhaustion alone had worsened her final months. Father placed Mother's diary beside me. Her handwriting shook across the pages. "Victor refused my call again. Nathaniel is caring too much. Diane says I don't need additional care, but the pain is worsening." I covered my mouth. Father then played hospital security footage from the night Mother died. The timestamp showed me entering her room alone. Another screen displayed Victor's public post from that same hour. Champagne glasses, the words "best night ever." Diane sat beside him in the photograph. "She waited for both of you," Father said, his voice breaking. "You were spending the money meant to keep her comfortable." Victor's composure cracked as anger replaced denial. "What do you want from us?" Father lifted the sealed envelope. "This is my will. Nathaniel inherits the house, investments, and practice shares. My remaining treatment fund goes to the hospital's charity ward." Victor shot upright. "You cannot disinherit me. I can, and I have." Diane threatened lawyers, but Father calmly explained that copies of every record had already gone to the hospital board, an attorney, and prosecutors. "You may repay what you stole and apologize at your mother's grave," he said, "or contest the will and watch everything become public." For once, neither of them had an answer. I cared for Father through his final spring. We ate breakfast beside the garden, sorted old photographs, spoke honestly about grief. He died peacefully at sunrise, holding Mother's picture. A year later, I became head nurse. Father's house became my home, not because of its value, but because love lived in its rooms. Victor repaid part of the money after selling his car. Diane lost her hospital position when the forged report surfaced. Their relationship collapsed beneath blame. They eventually came to Mother's grave and apologized. I listened, without forgiving quickly or cruelly. I simply walked away. That afternoon, I planted new roses beside Father's bench. Mother's ring flashed in the sunlight as I pressed soil around the roots. "I'm all right now," I whispered. For the first time. It was true.